However, on March 28th, worry set in pretty quickly when Ella, their dog, was found wandering in the Sandstone Caravan Park, some 30 kilometers away from their campsite. And Ella was not in good condition. She was dirty, thirsty, and hungry. And when the dog was scanned for a microchip and identified, locals began attempting to contact Ray, but unfortunately, they didn't have any success. The Sandstone sheriff attempted to contact Ray's daughter, Mel, but he reached Mel's partner, Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth obviously was very concerned, wondering how Ella could have become separated from Ray. I mean, she is literally attached to him at all times. And so she, of course, attempts to contact them via the satellite phone, but Ray didn't answer. And instead, she was greeted by Graham Milne, who told her that he hadn't seen Ray or Jenny since March 22nd. And Graham explained that he had decided to return to Perth at the end of the weekend and accidentally took the satellite phone with him. So Elizabeth quickly realized in that moment that this meant Ray and Jenny had been in the wild with no way to contact anyone, especially not emergency services, for at least 6 days. And obviously she's panicking at this point. She immediately contacts Jenny's kids and the police. And obviously, after hearing all this and discovering Ella, Ray and Jenny's families were quick to report the couple missing. However, the inquests and searches didn't begin until March 31st. And to this day, the search is still considered one of the largest in Western Australia's history. Upon arrival, the police easily found Ray and Jenny's camp. It was still fully intact and appeared to be undisturbed. Of course, they searched the immediate area, but there appeared to be no sign of the two of them and no sign about where they possibly could have gone. And with no other leads, the police invited Graham back to the scene and asked for his assistance in looking for them.
Which is a major mistake on their part to be like, you were with them. Why don't you just come help us search for him, rather than immediately thinking, this is weird. You're the only one that came back. I assume they're believing his story. He left early, and they're just not really thinking about all the possibilities here that maybe, it's obvious from the get-go. They think this is a case of they went missing by accident or misadventure, which again, it does happen a lot in the Australian bush. It's not uncommon. But
and just all over the world. I mean, to play devil's advocate, that's kind of what is first believed when someone goes missing, when they're out in the wilderness, that something happened. And majority of the time, statistically, that is the case. But the mistake is assuming that that was the only possibility from the jump. And so Graham took the search team south to multiple mine entrances that the group had been exploring during their weekend there. And the abandoned camp was only 2 kilometers from the nearest road, so police began seeking anyone who may have driven through the area and possibly could have seen the couple. And so a few days into the search for Ray and Jenny, investigators learned that a group of campers in the area made a statement that they had been coming through the area and discovered a mine shaft north of the abandoned camp that smelled, quote, horrible. And so 2 officers were sent to look at the mine, where they described smelling something like a carcass and seeing a swarm of flies. One officer shone their flashlight down into the opening of the mine shaft, but they couldn't see all the way to the bottom of the mine. The second officer found a dead kangaroo nearby, and the 2 determined that that was the cause of the smell and the flies. So they declared the mine shaft to be all clear. And then days went by and no stone seemed to be left unturned. There were police helicopters and planes in the air, and on the ground there were searches on foot as well as in vehicles and on quads.
If you're not familiar with quads, it's just ATVs, basically. Just another name for them. But during the investigation, we're all wondering about Graham, right? Well, he did not go unquestioned. In fact, he had given the police a complete timeline of events up until the moment he left camp.